Daily Manna from the Torah by Dr. Ketriel Blad. Shalom, dear friends. Welcome all to the fifth Aliyah of Parashah HaAzinu. Listen. This Aliyah is found in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verses 29 through 39. Today we'll be covering verse 36. The Lord will judge his people and have compassion on his servants when he sees their strength is gone and no one is left, slave or free. When will final redemption come? Up to this point in Moshe rabbenu's discourse, there have been only words of admonishment because of most of the Jewish people's evil behavior. Now, there is a change in the tone, and the Eternal turns against the enemies of the people of the covenant, who are also his enemies, and shows mercy to his servants. In this verse, there is a key to understand one of the things that should happen before the final redemption. It has to do with the destruction of the sacred people's strength. There will be a moment when the Eternal will allow the enemies to harm the people of the covenant, to break all their power and attempt to destroy them. But when he sees that the people are about to lose everything, he will send his wrath upon the enemies and save the Jewish nation. That will be the moment of the final redemption, when the Eternal himself will come to save his people. In other words, when the Jewish people's power is broken and there is no hope humanly possible of survival, then the redemption will come. There are two things that give strength to the Israel of today: the United States and the IDF, the Israel Defense Force. When the support from these two has been crushed and the people only can look up and rely on their God, then the Messiah will come. There are also other texts that speak of the same event. In Daniel 12, verses 6 and 7, it's written, "One of them said to the man clothed in linen who was above the waters of the river, 'How long will it be before these astonishing things are fulfilled?' The man clothed in linen who was above the waters of the river lifted his right hand and his left hand toward heaven, and I heard him swear by him who lives forever, saying, 'It will be for a time, times and half a time, when the power of the holy people has been finally broken. All these things will be completed.'" Isaiah 63 speaks of the coming of the Messiah in the name of the Eternal, when he will execute vengeance upon the enemies who will be at that moment on the brink of destroying Israel. In verses 1 through 6 it's written, "Who is this coming from Edom, from Bozrah, with his garments stained crimson? Who is this, robed in splendor, striding forward in the greatness of his strength? It is I, speaking in righteousness, mighty to save. Why are your garments red, like those of one treading the winepress? I have trodden the winepress alone. From the nations no one was with me. I trampled them in my anger and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garments, and I stained all my clothing. For the day of vengeance was in my heart, and the year of my redemption has come. I looked, but there was no one to help. I was appalled that no one gave support. So my own arm worked salvation for me, and my own wrath sustained me. I trampled the nations in my anger. In my wrath I made them drunk and poured their blood on the ground." When this passage says that he had to trample alone, and that no one from the nations and no one was with him, it can be understood as the support from the USA and also Israel's army not having any more power to be able to face the enemies, and that the salvation of the Jewish people will only come through the Messiah. This fact can also be seen in the prophecy of the prophet Zechariah, chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. "A day of the Lord is coming, when your plunder will be divided among you. I will gather all the nations to Jerusalem to fight against it. The city will be captured, the houses ransacked, and the women raped. Half of the city will go into exile, but the rest of the people will not be taken from the city. Then the Lord will go out and fight against those nations as he fights in the day of battle. On that day his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem, and the Mount of Olives will be split in two from east to west, forming a great valley, with half of the mountain moving north and half moving south. You will flee by my mountain valley, for it will extend to Azel. You will flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Then the Lord, my God, will come, and all the holy ones with him. When the Israeli army is broken, then the final redemption will come. May the Eternal give us wisdom to be able to discern the time in which we are living. Kol Tuv, all the best, and Shalom.